Few chapters embody the spirit of unwavering devotion and zealous crusade as profoundly as the Black Templars. Born from the gene seed of the venerable Imperial Fists Legion and led by their resolute chapter master, High Marshal Helbrecht, the Black Templars stand as exemplars of loyalty to the Emperor of mankind. Formed during the days of the Second Founding, the Black Templars emerged from the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, a time of great turmoil and treachery that tested the resolve of the Imperium. Forged in the crucible of these dark times, the chapter's origins can be traced back to the Imperial Fists' defense of Terra, where their Primarch, Rogel Dawn, stood firm against the forces of chaos. While other Space Marine chapters were formed through the division of their legions, the Black Templars resisted the breaking up of their beloved Imperial Fists Legion. Only when the Imperium deemed them almost heretical did they acquiesce, accepting their new designation as a second founding chapter. This transition marked the beginning of a mission that has endured for over 10 millennia, a mission that would see the Black Templars embark on the longest Imperial crusade ever undertaken. Unlike many other chapters, the Black Templars eschew a fixed homeworld, instead operating as a fleet-based chapter known as a Crusade Fleet. Their mighty war fleet, a testament to their nomadic nature, traverses the stars in an eternal quest to cleanse the galaxy of heresy, alien threats, and the vile forces of chaos. The chapter establishes numerous strongholds and keeps upon worlds they conquer, transforming these bastions into watchtowers for treachery and recruitment centers for new battle brothers. Yet the Black Templars' devotion to the Emperor extends beyond the battlefield. Unlike many other Astartes chapters, they revere the Master of Mankind as a literal god, similar to mortal adherents of the Imperial cult. This deeply ingrained belief fuels their unwavering commitment, giving them the fervor necessary to confront the darkness that threatens the Imperium. As inquisitorial librarians, we delve into the rich history and profound ethos of the Black Templars, seeking to understand their unshakable faith. We examine their crusader culture, their fervent devotion to the Emperor's cause, and their unique chapter structure. Through diligent study and contemplation, we hope to uncover the lessons that the Black Templars can impart, not only to their fellow Astartes, but to all who strive to uphold the Imperial truth in these turbulent times. Join me, dear scholars and seekers of knowledge, as we embark on a journey to explore the path of the Black Templars and seek enlightenment in their unwavering devotion to the Emperor's will. The founding of the Black Templars, as a successor chapter of the Imperial Fists during the Second Founding, is a significant event that shaped their unique identity and purpose. Led by the revered First Captain Sigismund, the Black Templars emerged as a distinct force within the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. Sigismund, known for his loyalty and zealous devotion to the Emperor, handpicked the most fervent warriors from the Imperial Fists to form the core of the newly founded chapter. These battle brothers shared Sigismund's faith and dedication to the cause of humanity, and it was under his leadership that they donned the black and white panoply that has become their iconic symbol. One of the defining aspects of the Black Templars' founding was their rejection of the Codex Astartes, the foundational treatise penned by Guilliman. Sigismund considered it an affront to the teachings of their Primarch Rogel Dawn, and saw it as a limitation on their capacity to serve the Emperor's will. This refusal to adhere to the Codex Astartes set them apart from the majority of other Space Marine chapters and allowed them to forge their own path. With their faith in the God Emperor and a firm belief in his divinity, the Black Templars became known for their fanatical zealotry and aggressive nature on the battlefield. Their entire chapter culture revolves around a relentless crusade against the enemies of humanity, pursuing them across the stars and never resting in their pursuit. This unending imperial crusade, fueled by their oath of loyalty to the Emperor, has endured for over 10 millennia, making it the longest campaign in the history of the Space Marines. The Black Templars' unique founding and their commitment to their cause have left an indelible mark on their chapter. They are seen as fierce and uncompromising warriors, ever ready to purge any threat to the Imperium with righteous fury. Their adherence to their own traditions and doctrines, while remaining resolute in their faith, has both garnered respect and raised eyebrows among other chapters. Following their inception under the leadership of First Captain Sigismund, the Black Templars embarked on a righteous imperial crusade to prove their loyalty to the Emperor. They eschewed the limitations of the Codex Astartes, adhering instead to their own unique doctrines and traditions shaped by the beliefs instilled in them by their primarch, Rogaldorn. Over the course of their long and storied history, the Templars have fought in countless wars and conflicts, leaving a trail of victories and vanquished foes in their wake. Their unending imperial crusade has spanned over 10,000 years, making it the longest campaign ever undertaken by a Space Marine chapter. They have played pivotal roles in some of the Imperium's most critical conflicts, fighting valiantly during the wars for Armageddon, defending the Hive World against overwhelming Orc forces. They have also been instrumental in the defense of Terra itself, ensuring the sanctity of the Emperor's homeworld during times of dire threat. The chapter's fortress monastery, the Gloriana-class battleship Eternal Crusader, serves as a symbol of their indomitable spirit and unwavering resolve. It is a mobile bastion, always on the move as the Black Templars continue their eternal crusade against the enemies of mankind. The organization of the Black Templars is a unique departure from the standard structure followed by most Space Marine chapters. As a fleet-based chapter, they operate as a crusading force rather than being tied to a single homeworld. At the pinnacle of their organization stands the High Marshal, the overall commander of the Black Templars. The High Marshal is responsible for overseeing all ongoing crusades and coordinating the efforts of the marshals leading individual crusade fleets. Each crusade fleet is led by a marshal, who acts as the commander of their respective crusade. They are chosen for their tactical prowess, leadership abilities, and unshakable faith in the Emperor. The marshals are supported by a personal retinue that includes the Emperor's champion, chaplains, tech marines, and apothecaries, among others. The core fighting force of the chapter is organized into several fighting companies. Each fighting company is led by a Castellan, a battle-hardened veteran, chosen for their martial skill and tactical acumen. The Castellan serves as the company's commander, overseeing the deployment of its forces and ensuring the execution of the chapter's strategies. Within the fighting companies, the Templars deploy various ranks of warriors. Initiates are the fully fledged battle brothers, while neophytes are the recruits in training. Sword Brethren are experienced warriors who have proven their worth on the battlefield and serve as non-commissioned officers within the company. The Black Templars have a strong emphasis on close combat, and their forces are often equipped and trained accordingly. They prefer the use of melee weapons, such as chainswords and power swords, and are renowned for their expertise in close-quarters engagements. Devastator squads, which specialize in heavy-ranged weaponry, are rare among the Black Templars due to their preference for direct assault. The organization reflects its relentless crusading nature. They are ever on the move, seeking out enemies of the Imperium and bringing the Emperor's wrath upon them. Their fleet-based structure allows them to strike at multiple targets simultaneously and cover vast areas of space. It is important to note that the Templars do not include librarians within their ranks. Their deep-rooted distrust of the warp and anything related to it has led to the exclusion of psychers from their chapter. Instead, the Black Templars rely on their unwavering faith and martial prowess to combat the forces of chaos. Since they have no chapter homeworld, they establish keeps on worlds they conquer or reclaim for the Imperium. These keeps serve as recruitment centers and staging posts for crusade fleets. The selection of neophytes is rigorous, and only the most skilled aspirants are chosen to join the Black Templars. Once selected, the neophytes undergo tests and trials to prove their worth and are implanted with the gene seed organs that will transform them into Space Marines. Neophytes are dispatched to a crusade fleet, where they undergo further training and trials alongside the Battle Brothers. Unlike other Space Marine chapters, the Black Templars do not have a dedicated scout company. Instead, neophytes who survive the trials impress a Battle Brother who takes on the role of their mentor. The mentor takes personal responsibility for the neophytes' training and conducts, guiding them in the ways of war, the chapter's history, and its holy rites of worship to the Emperor. The bond between mentor and neophyte is strong, and if the neophyte falls, the mentor swears a death oath to avenge them. As the neophyte proves their valor and skill, they submit to the chapter's chaplains for the final trials of purity. Upon successful completion, they are elevated to the status of a full battle brother, known as an initiate. Initiates form the majority of the chapter's fighting companies and are split into crusade squads, armed primarily with bolters. They fight alongside their brothers, passing on their skills and traditions to neophytes assigned to them. While the Black Templars do not have dedicated scout squads, groups of neophytes may be tasked together into independent squads for infiltration or critical missions. This shows the trust placed in their abilities by their initiates. Aspirants undergo rigorous training and must prove their worth before they can become neophytes and begin their journey toward becoming Black Templars. Their combat doctrine revolves around a relentless and aggressive approach, emphasizing close combat engagements. They eschew ranged warfare in favor of charging headlong into the enemy, seeking to engage in brutal melee combat. This doctrine is deeply ingrained in their beliefs and reflects their zealous devotion to the Emperor and their fanatical hatred for the enemies of mankind. Initiates, driven by righteous anger and unwavering conviction, launch themselves upon the foe with a focused aggression that borders on recklessness. Their battle oaths and fervent shouts resound on the battlefield, inspiring fear in their enemies and bolstering the morale of their fellow Templars. They are trained to be fearless in the face of danger, rushing forward to engage the enemy without hesitation. In battle, the Templars employ a combination of orbital assault and armored spearhead tactics. They make use of drop pods and Thunderhawk gunships for swift and devastating mass landings, often preceded by intense orbital bombardment to soften enemy defenses. The shock and awe of their initial assault can be overwhelming, giving them an immediate advantage. If the enemy resistance persists, the Templars unleash their heavy armor, spearheading their forces and exploiting the weakest points in the enemy's defenses. The doctrine is characterized by their close-knit formations and reliance on the martial prowess of their individual warriors. They place great importance on individual skill and the ability to engage in hand-to-hand combat effectively. This emphasis on personal combat ability is reflected in their rigorous training and the selection of exceptionally capable initiates to join their ranks. There is no greater example of this combat ability than the anointed Emperor's champions. The champions hold a special and revered position within the ranks of the Black Templars chapter. Rooted in the legacy of Captain Sigismund, the first Emperor's champion, these chosen warriors embody the pinnacle of faith, martial prowess, and devotion to the Emperor and the Imperium. They are more than skilled warriors, they are living embodiments of the chapter's beliefs and principles. Each Emperor's champion is chosen through a sacred and rigorous process that combines spiritual insight, martial skill, and faith. The champion is tasked with a sacred duty to seek out the greatest champions and leaders among the enemy forces and engage them in single combat. Through his exemplary combat prowess, unwavering faith, and determination, he becomes a beacon of inspiration for his fellow Black Templars, driving back the enemy and instilling unshakable resolve in the hearts of his brethren. At the core of their beliefs is the conviction that the Emperor is the one true God of mankind. Unlike many other Space Marine chapters, the Black Templars openly venerate the Emperor as a deity, akin to the mortal adherents of the Imperial cult. This belief sets them apart and fuels their unparalleled zeal and dedication to their cause. The Black Templars view themselves as the Emperor's chosen warriors, entrusted with the sacred duty of defending humanity and purging the galaxy of its enemies. They believe that through their unwavering loyalty and unwavering devotion, they embody the will of the Emperor and serve as instruments of his divine judgment. Their dogma reserves a particular hatred for three types of enemies: mutants, heretics, and witches. This stems from their origins, with the chapter's founding being deeply influenced by the betrayal of heretic Astartes during the Horus heresy. The Black Templars see it as their duty to eradicate these threats wherever they are found, sparing no mercy or compromise. They are driven by a sense of righteousness and the belief that it is their sacred duty to enforce the Emperor's will. They are relentless crusaders, constantly seeking out battles and enemies to vanquish. Their fiery zeal and unshakable conviction in the righteousness of their cause make them fearsome warriors on the battlefield. Another aspect of their beliefs is their deep distrust and aversion to psychic powers and the warp. They refuse to accept librarians within their ranks, as they consider the warp and its manifestations as tainted and dangerous. This aversion also extends to psykers in the service of the Imperium, further emphasizing their zealous rejection of anything associated with the warp. They believe that the warp and its entities are malevolent forces that must be resisted and purged, and that any interaction with psychic powers poses a grave risk to the purity and integrity of their chapter. It is important to note that the Black Templars' aversion to psykers is primarily directed at those who have embraced chaos or other heretical forces. They do recognize the value of certain psykers, such as astropaths and navigators, who play essential roles in communication and navigation within the Imperium, and those who they deem pure, such as the Grey Knights. These individuals are seen as exceptions, given their loyalty to the Emperor and their vital contributions to the Imperium's functioning. When the Black Templars find themselves in situations where they must fight alongside other chapters or Imperial forces that include psykers, such as in the Death Watch, it becomes a significant trial for them. They must exercise great discipline and tolerance to work alongside psykers, testing the limits of their faith and resolve. The beliefs and practices of the Black Templars do indeed contradict the principles of the Imperial Truth, which nearly all other Astartes chapters follow. The Imperial Truth sought to eradicate superstition, religion, and any form of irrational belief in favor of a purely rational and scientific worldview. It aimed to suppress religious worship and eliminate the influence of the warp and psychic powers, emphasizing human reason and the pursuit of knowledge. However, the Black Templars embrace religious fervor and devotion, revering the Emperor as a divine figure and worshipping him as the one true God of mankind. They hold strong religious beliefs, rituals, and ceremonies, and their faith forms a central pillar of their identity and motivation. This contrasts sharply with the atheistic principles of the Imperial Truth and their fellow Astartes. As we come to the end of this lecture on the illustrious history of the Black Templars, it is evident that their saga is one of unyielding determination, unwavering faith, and selfless sacrifice. From the treacherous battles of the 13th Black Crusade to the Crusades launched in the wake of the Great Rift's opening, the Black Templars have remained at the forefront of defending the Imperium from the forces of chaos, Xenos threats, and heresy. We have witnessed their relentless pursuit of justice and righteousness, their fervent zeal in the face of overwhelming odds, and their unbreaking loyalty to the Emperor and the Imperial Creed. Whether it be the heroic efforts of Marshal Marius Amalric or the valiant actions of Castellandramus and his strike force in the Ruthenian Crusade, the Black Templars have consistently displayed their indomitable spirit and resolve. From their origins as the zealous successors of the Imperial Fists, during the Second Founding, the Black Templars have forged a path of righteous fury and loyalty. They epitomize the unwavering resolve of the Adeptus Astartes, embodying the ideals of loyalty, duty, and unyielding faith in the Emperor. Their endless crusades continue to inspire awe and fear, their righteous fury carving a path of judgment and retribution across the stars. Men united in the purpose of the Emperor are blessed in his sight and shall live forever in his memory. Perhaps we can learn something from these indomitable zealots.